can't remember whether I was at the Ark or Nisqually last time. So let's go to Nisqually. What's your name out of Nisqually?
Briner.
That matter is on for arraignment and pre-FTC, Your Honor, and I'll be representing Mr. Briner today.
It looks like he has a state case also. Is that correct?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. And so, like there's a few cases here. 1, 2. So your name is Justin Briner.
That is correct.
Did you review your legal rights on this sheet of paper?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about any of them?
No.
It said you checked the cell phone for text reminders. Do you have a cell phone?
Not that I know of.
All right. So Mr. Vandenbosch, you're here. It looks like Mr. Hoffman's represented him in the past.
That's correct, Your Honor. So I've met
The
with
new case, hang on just a second. The new case is the one that ends in 693. So Mr. Briner, you're here on a new case of criminal trespass, and then you have many backups on a variety of charges, and we're going to take the new case first. Then we'll talk about all the backups, including one from the city of Tumwater. So you are Justin Briner. You did review your rights. You're charged with one count on the case, 1A 0185693. You're charged with one count of criminal trespass. Are you in the first degree? Are you stipulating the probable cause on that, Mr. Vandenbosch?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
A plea of not guilty will be entered. We're going to set conditions of release. That's a gross misdemeanor, which carries with it a maximum penalty of 364 days in jail and a $5,000 fine. I'm going to hear from the city of Lacey on conditions of release. And Mr. Sharp, are you going to address conditions on all these Lacey cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then I'll hear from the state about their one case. Then I'll hear from Mr. Vandenbosch and finally Ms. Stabenow. So Mr. Sharp, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's disappointing to see Mr. Briner back so soon. He was just released less than 3 weeks ago when he resolved his Tumwater case and had a hefty sanction imposed on these Lacey cases. City is moving to revoke probation again on all 6 of the probation cases. On each case, including the new one today, the city's asking for $1,000 bail. On this newest case, city's additionally asking for no new law violations, no contact with Safeway on Yelm Highway. And he very well knows that he shouldn't be going there. 2 of these convictions in Lacey are out of that same Safeway, and I believe his felony from May in 2020 was at that exact same location. So it's again frustrating to see another case arising out of the same location. City believes the bail is appropriate here.
Ms. Hewitson.
Your Honor, Mr. Briner was given the rare opportunity of a pretrial services diversion. He failed to report to pretrial services within the 7 days as required, and now has picked up a new criminal law violation. State filed in a first amended information based on the new criminal law violation. When bail was previously set at $500, I would ask that bail be set at $1,000 in this matter.
Mr. Vandenbosch.
Thank you, Your Honor. Our request is for release today. I mean, this may sound like a strange thing to say, but I would argue that really this new allegation doesn't change the calculus for Mr. Briner very much. Mr. Briner, of course, he's on the streets. He's struggling. He was released relatively recently. I believe it was on the 7th, but looking at the docket notes, I've spoken with him. He understands that he has to get in touch with probation, or else this is going to keep happening, and the court's patience is going to simply run out entirely. We would ask for his release. Like I said, I've told him he needs to make contact with probation. I would only ask that if the court does release him today, that the court give him a date certain to return. That will help him out quite a bit. And I'll also point out too that none of these recent charges, or certainly not this one, are crimes of violence. I think the allegation is he was eating an apple in the Safeway. It doesn't mean that he was allowed to be there.
Inside
but it's not
Safeway?
really a safety concern. So our request is for release with a date certain to return.
Ms. Stabenow.
Yes, Your Honor. It depends on what happens in his Lacey cases. If he is held, I'd just like to have this set over. As Mr. Vandenbosch says, though, Mr. Briner's crimes are not of violence. He does have some issues, which is why we actually had him set up for pretrial services. I would like to still, if possible, get him set up with them, contact them, and see if there is some kind of way they can still work with him if possible, even getting him one of the phones so they can be in contact with him. I feel that if they can get in contact with him, he has spent his entire adult life on the streets. He's never had a home. And it is hard, very difficult for someone like him who is just struggling on the streets to keep track of days. So that is why Mr. Vandenbosch is asking for the date certain. We would like to try and get him those services and see if he can get the evaluations that they requested and get him set up. And they also would be able to assist him with getting a living situation, from my understanding. Thank you.
Do you know what happened last time? I mean, I was told that he had a pretrial diversion and then they never heard from him. Do you have any insight as to what happened?
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, Mr. Briner does not have much in the way of belongings or funds. He does not have a phone. He doesn't have an address. He doesn't even have a temporary mailing address. I am imagining he most likely lost track of time. As I said, he has no real direction because he just sleeps on cardboard on the street. He doesn't even have a tent, from my understanding. And I think it's a matter of not being able to track time and just surviving and not being able to follow his days. And he has no communication devices as well, or funds, in fact, even to use a bus to get in contact with the court.
On each of the cases, I'm going to set bail in the amount of $500 cash or bond. We'll set a pretrial and FTC and Lacey for 1:30 on Tuesday, February 2nd. And we could do the state at 1:30 on, we do these on Thursday. We could do it on February 4th, which is next Thursday.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that should be plenty of time to get some emails and contacts sent out.
I'm going to need a few minutes to do these orders.